I think the problem mostly started when I was 17. When you are growing up and you're a teenager, you're becoming an adult, you're starting to develop, your body changes a lot and you gain weight. That's normal. I was so used to being so small when I was young that when I got older and I gained some fat, I gained it in my stomach, I gained it on my face and my arms. I felt so insecure about my body because I remember people were always commenting on my body ever since I was a little girl. I was always being called skinny, I was always being called fat, I was called pregnant before. And when I was 17, I wanted to love my body. I wanted to make it look good. I would go on these diets. These diets consisted of me avoiding literally processed food. I would still have some processed food, but I would mostly eat boring salads, or I wouldn't eat at all. I would have a pizza one day and I would want to throw it up. I didn't like that feeling, but I wanted to get rid of the pizza, so I would go throw it up. I didn't do that for a long time, but I did do it for a little bit because I cared a lot about what people had to say about my body. For some reason, it always got to me. It's something that just I could not help but hear people constantly talk about it. And maybe it wasn't that bad, but for me, I was just always so aware. In middle school, I was in medication and I was obviously going through, puberty, and medication and puberty, I gained weight and I got bloated and I got a little belly fat, and that's normal. In school, people were so used to me being small that they called me pregnant because my arms were skinny, my legs were thin, but the only part of my body that was bloated was my belly. So I was called pregnant, and ever since then I became very aware of how my body looked like. I became very insecure. So when I turned 16, I started working out. That was genuinely out of love, I love to work out, and I didn't even do it right, but I was actually really interested in that. So that's when the whole interest in working out picked off. When I was 17, that's when I started to diet. I was gaining weight, that's normal, and I wanted to be slim thick because at the time being thick but slim was the thing. I feel like it's still the thing nowadays. I didn't realize that my body looked so good at the time. I thought I looked so crappy, but like I said, I would literally go on diets and I would have a pizza or a burger all messed up, quote unquote. I would go and throw it up. That didn't last long. 18 comes around, I move out from my mom's house. I had access to anything I wanted, all the junk food, all the food that was processed, anything that I wanted I could have, and so I got it. I ate it all. I wasn't working out anymore because I was going to school and I was working and I was going through some things at the time. I was just not eating the best. I wasn't eating the most nutrients I could eat. I was eating very bad. I don't want to say it, label it bad. I'm sorry, because I know people have that vocabulary. It's not good to use those types of vocabularies, but I was eating, things that you normally don't eat every day. I was eating Jack in the Box and Pizza Hut, and I was eating, those things are fine and everything's okay in moderation. As soon as your body starts feeling really crappy, I feel like that's when you should stop eating those foods. I was literally getting heartburns because I wasn't eating any nutrients. I basically gained a ton of weight when I turned 18 and I moved out from my mom's house. I did not even notice that I was gaining weight until my jeans did not fit me anymore. And I was like, why don't my jeans fit? I struggled with gaining weight, but I never gained so much weight that my jeans didn't fit me anymore. I never gained so much weight that my clothes didn't fit. I was always able to fit in my clothes. I would gain some weight here and there, but it wasn't to the point where my jeans would rip. I will show you guys pictures. Yeah, that's how I look like that happens a lot because this is called a freshman 15, except that I wasn't in college. I just moved out from my mom's house, but I had access to anything that I wanted. I'm not gonna lie, I don't regret that because I loved it at the time. It wasn't the best for my health, but I was living life. I was literally eating whatever the heck I wanted, and I didn't care, and it was fun. But I did not feel good at all because after eating those foods, my body was kind of like, why are you doing this to me? I was feeling tired, I was feeling moody, I was feeling hangry. I've never been a hangry person until I was eating those foods every day. I wasn't having any nutrients in me. Like maybe I was, but I feel like it wasn't what my body needed at the time. I wasn't eating what my body needed. I remember I would cry because I don't want to put the numbers because I know people get triggered by numbers. I personally don't get triggered anymore, but I'm not gonna do it. But I did gain, I would say like 20 pounds. That's the most weight I've ever gained in my life. I wanted to lose weight because I wanted to change. I wanted to feel like myself again. I didn't feel like myself. I didn't feel good. So I started to hit the gym. And also keep in mind that during the time I moved out of my mom's house, I would go to the gym, but it wasn't consistent. I would just go to the gym and just eat whatever I wanted. I would have not the most nutrient food for you. Like I would have pizza, I wouldn't make sure I had my greens. I didn't prioritize nutrients. I hated myself because I was like, why did I do this to myself? Like how did I let this happen? Why did I allow myself to get here? I decided to make a change, and I did. I went to the gym. I spent so much time doing cardio, and sure, I will do some weights here and there, but I wasn't as informed, and I didn't do my research to weight train. I didn't prioritize that. I didn't even think about weight training like that. I did like squats and like the little machines in the gym here and there, but it wasn't a priority. My priority was losing weight, and I didn't care what it was. I just wanted to lose weight. I didn't stick with the diet. I just slowly stopped eating out all the time. I will say in the very beginning of me hitting the gym, I would treat myself to like McDonald's McFlurry after literally going to the gym. It was kind of fun, I'm not gonna lie, but it's like, why did I do that? It's okay. It's a work in progress. It happens. So I did that. Eventually, I learned it's not a good idea to do that. I cut off eating processed foods for the whole week. I cut off eating red meat, pork, and I never cooked it. It's not bad to eat those foods. I just decided for myself, that I didn't want to eat that during the week. I did eat it on the weekend though, but I didn't want to cook it. And that's fine. I don't really crave it. I feel like I'm happy eating that on the weekend, and whenever I feel like it, but I mostly eat on the weekend. I don't need too much of it, and I feel content with that decision. I've done that since I was 19. I slowly started cutting things out. I didn't just do it cold turkey. And like I said, working out at the gym 5 times a week, basically, sometimes 6. And I loved it. I was a cardio girl. Loved the bicycle, loved the treadmill, anything that had to do with like being like full active endurance. I loved it. I still love it up to this day. But I lost weight pretty quickly. It helped a lot. I ended up, I don't want to say the weight, but I wasn't really happy. I kept losing weight, and I remember I got addicted to weighing myself. I woke up every morning and I weighed myself. I remember slowly after like 6 months, my weight wasn't dropping as much. I would just lose like a pound a month, and I was like, well, that sucks. Like I want to lose more weight. Like I'm not happy. Every single month, like I would lose 1 pound, and I was like, yay, I lost a pound, but I want to lose more. And I wasn't never content with my body, I was so proud that I've dropped like basically all the weight that I wanted, but I wasn't happy with my body. I always disliked my belly pooch, and everybody has it, but I don't know, I just always wanted that flat, hard stomach that every girl like dreams about. So I was not going to give up until I had that, and I didn't care how much weight I had to lose. I just ate less and less every time. I would skip meals. I remember on Fridays, I wouldn't eat anything at all because on Saturday and Sunday, we're gonna go feast. I'm gonna eat all the junk food. So I wouldn't eat on Fridays. So I skipped a day. I would eat like literally just drink coffee and have like a snack or fruit. I would go a little crazy on the weekends. I stopped going to the gym for a while. So I went to the gym at 18 until when I just turned 20, I stopped going to the gym. I was just doing home workouts, but it wasn't anything like cardio. When I turned 21, I went back to the gym, and guess what I did? Cardio. I didn't even do weights because I did resistance training at home. So I would do cardio at the gym and do resistance training at home, but it wasn't like heavy, very low weight. I would literally have bands and like 5-pound dumbbells and just do like really high reps. At that point, I was very tiny. I was very small, and I didn't realize how small I was until I looked at some pictures. But I didn't notice that because, again, I always looked at my stomach part. I was like, everything else is fine, but my stomach. I kept doing cardio. I remember at that point, I wasn't really strict with my diet. I would eat what I wanted to eat. I was just eating very less of it. My husband and I were gonna go on a beach trip, and my goal was to get a really flat stomach. My goal was to wear a bathing suit and feel really confident wearing my bathing suit. So I went on a diet. Here I go again with my diets. I decided I wanted to go vegan. Didn't do it for a long time. It was really hard. I cut off basically all my protein, dairy, basically a lot of animal products, even like processed stuff. I tried not to eat any processed stuff. I was literally eating like leaves and veggies. I was doing so much cardio, and I would eat peanut butter. This is when I became obsessed with nut butters. I would eat peanut butter, I would eat almond butter, and I would eat nuts, and I would eat smoothies, drink smoothies, and like things that were so like plant-based. It was a lot of volume, but it wasn't enough calories. And then I would go to the gym, walk on the treadmill, and walk 6 miles like every single day, and eat very, very low calories. I didn't notice at the time how low my calories were because at the time I didn't count my calories like that. But I was always tracking, like, I'm not tracking, but I was always like, I would always read calories, but I would never track them on my app because I just never liked to do that. I never liked to weigh my food. I never liked to do any of that. I just didn't care. I just wanted to eat whatever I wanted and like get it over with and not count anything. But I would look at the calories because I want to know. I would look at the sugars because I would want to know, but didn't track it. I would like kind of keep a mental note, but not like really on it. My husband and I trip comes around. I'm the smallest I've ever been, but I still was not happy. I was not happy with my body. I was like happy in a way because I felt like I looked better, but my stomach was still there, in my opinion, right? Everybody else was like, you're fine, you're fine. Through this entire process, people were always commenting on my weight. They would ask me, how are you doing it? I love when people ask me for advice, but I wasn't a nutritionist. I'm not a nutritionist. I am not an expert, and I wasn't doing it the healthy way either. So people were just assuming that I was doing things the right way, and it kind of made me feel like I was, but I wasn't. It did trigger me. People have a lot of power in their words, and I feel like I gave them that power too because I allowed it to get to me. My body was just tired. I was sleepy all the time. When I went on that trip, I allowed myself to eat whatever I wanted because I wasn't vegan. I did it for a little bit, But I wasn't vegan. I wasn't gonna label myself as a vegan because I wanted to eat animal products, to be frank. I know if you're vegan, I am sorry. But that's what my body wanted. I wanted to eat all the food that I was avoiding to eat. Like, I went on that diet for like not that long. I think like a month. I started off being a vegetarian, but cutting out like meats and animal proteins, and that's how I started off. So I think I went like 8 weeks on a diet or something like that. And every once in a while, I would sneak in like a little coffee or chocolate. So I wasn't like fully vegan, but I was really trying. And it was very rare that I got it because I didn't want to ruin my diet, because if I ate a chocolate, it was gonna ruin all the progress. It's not a big deal, but for me, it was a big deal. And I wanted to challenge myself. I felt like if I didn't meet my goal, I wasn't good enough for myself. Like, I just didn't feel good enough until I reached a goal. And then when I reached that goal, I was wanting to push it even further. When I went to that beach trip, I was happy, but with my body, I felt like I could have done so much more. Every time it went back to me and my body and the way I ate, I always felt like I wasn't doing enough. I always felt like, why not do something more? If I walked 4 miles, why not walk 5 miles the next day? If I walked 5 miles, okay, why don't I walk 6 miles the next day? Literally, it was like this. I'm not even joking. I walked 6 miles. How about I push it to 7 miles? I'm not joking. It's real. I walked 7 miles. Let's push it to 8, until I went up to 10 miles. I walked 10 miles. I got an injury. And I'm still paying the consequences up to this day. And I was never happy with my body. The only time in that process where I didn't pay attention to my body was when I like told myself that I lost all that weight and that I did that. And then I gave myself a break from like even thinking about my weight. That was the only time that I didn't care, and I was happy, and I was eating whatever I wanted, and I was eating everything in moderation, and I was free. This is a very long story. It's really all over the place. At this point, I